Newsflash, working harder makes you poorer. Regrettably, our society has embraced the misleading notion that the path to prosperity is paved with ceaseless toils. We have been led to accept the idea that achieving our aspiration requires subjecting ourselves to relentless workdays, intensifying our output, and sacrifice our well-being in the name of productivity. But what if this belief is not just false, but patently cruel? Emerging evidence suggests a concerning pattern. The more we submit ourselves to the boring work, the more we find ourselves trapped in a cycle of diminishing financial rewards. This reality contradicts our sincere efforts and intensifies the pain of enduring this misconception. This reality contradicts our sincerest effort and intensifies the pain of this enduring deception. We're certain that by now you've heard of the hustle culture reference in the media, or maybe you have that friend who loves to brag about their hustle and grind. In today's episode, we're gonna deep dive into the evidence that shows working harder makes you poorer. We'll spill the beans on the real key to building wealth that surprisingly doesn't involve breaking your back. Plus, we got some practical tactics for all your business leader, entrepreneurs, and founder to sprinkle into your day-to-day business grind. But first, let's talk about our love-hate relationship with the treadmill. Hustle culture can be likened to treadmill that keeps getting faster and faster and steeper. People are constantly encouraged to run faster, work harder to pursue the success, much like someone trying to keep up with the accelerating pace of the treadmill. However, no matter how fast they run, they never seem to be able to reach that finish line of true contentment and balance, and risk of exhaustion or burnout looms large. This treadmill of constant hustle leaves individuals feeling trapped and exhausted, ultimately questioning whether this never-ending pursuit of this speed is worth the toll that it takes on your well-being. So to start, we want to show you what happens when you don't make that change from the hustle culture and how badly this can impact every single area of your life. First off, your mental health takes a hit. Next up, let's talk about family bond. Remember the quality time that you used to spend with your loved ones? Well, you can forget about your kids' soccer game or throwing the ball in the front of the yard, right? Because the grind has become the new player in the family game. Juggling work commitments often means missing out on family movie nights or even dining out together. And don't even mention self-care. What's that? The grind culture often leaves us neglecting the very person at the center of it all, ourselves. When was the last time you took a breather, maybe indulge in a hobby, or just have a lazy Sunday without a to-do list chasing you? Have you ever seen the show Shop? It's super intense and high pressure, and many talented chefs have been known to crumble in the face of the pressure. One example that comes to mind that we see time and time again is the ice cream machine and the downfall of many brave contestants by using it. You see, it's all fun and game, but if you get distracted for too long, the machine will have been left churning for too long, right? Resulting in a grainy and overmixed ice cream that's totally unusable, and you will be shocked. So in life, just like the show, sometimes more effort actually leads to less success, which is pretty sad when you think about it. The issue here isn't that the chefs didn't have the drive, didn't lack for talent, didn't lack for skill. It's that they didn't find that sweet spot between input and output. For us, we see this in a culture of overwork where too much of a good thing leads to a breaking point. So you might be wondering, what specific emerging evidence suggests the hard work doesn't equate to wealth? Well, according to Economic Policy Institute from 1973 to 2014, in the good old USA, productivity shot up 72.2%. But guess what happened to typical workers' hourly pay? It only crawled up a measly 9.2%. Let's switch to something that's a bit mind-boggling: the connection between how much we work and the cash flow of a country. According to the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD, there's a funky trend emerging. The hours clocked in that seems to have been seesaw dance with the per capita GDP in its members' country. Countries like Norway and Germany, where people might be working fewer hours on an average, are hitting a higher per capita GDP compared to longer hours champs like Greece and Mexico. It's a real-life economic riddle. Shorter hours, more money from the nation's piggy bank. Who would have thought? You guys, it's so bad that the World Health Organization has officially recognized workplace burnout as an occupational phenomenon. Chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed can lead to burnout, which reduces productivity and lead to health issues that might put further burden on your finances. Have you ever heard of the law of diminishing returns? Imagine you're baking a cake and you keep on adding more sugar. At first, it's a sweet heaven, but at some point, more sugar just turned into a sugary disaster. Now apply that to your work hours. There's a sweet spot where you're putting extra hours equals to extra productivity. But according to the law of diminishing returns, after a certain point, the extra time that you're throwing into the mix might start playing harder to get. Suddenly, more hours don't mean more productivity. They might mean more eye strain and fewer good ideas. So if working harder isn't the key to becoming rich, what actually is? More on that soon. But first, first, guys, have you ever wondered when you stroll into a hotel and start living that temporary high life, who's really breaking the sweat behind the scenes? Chances are it's the unsung heroes, the maid and the maintenance crew. These guys are the backbone of the hotel hustle, putting some serious elbow grease. But despite the hard work, they often get the short end of the pay stick. Their earnings are tied directly to the clock. The more hours they grind, the more they see in their wallets. And that, my friend, shines a classic spotlight on workforce issue. Let's break down the compensation game in 4 quick tiers. Base level. Unfortunately, this is a group that gets paid based on their physical effort. But since they're a surplus of willing workers, they end up getting the smallest paycheck. Mid-level management. The second tier is all about managing tasks, earning a bit more but still putting in tons of time for not a huge payout. Business owners. Now we're talking, right? We're talking about the people who are willing to take risks. Once the time maybe they were in the first 2 tiers, but they've leveled up. Their earnings are now linked to other people's skills and time, making bank, especially if their business hits a jackpot. Force multiplier. We told this story many times, but think of it like planting an apple seed. Once it's successful, it doesn't just give you one apple. It's a whole tree with a ton of apples. Investors play a similar game, leveraging one successful move into a cascade of wins. The awesome part is that at this stage, investors get to disconnect effort from financial success. They throw their money into the game and it starts working over time, growing and thriving out there in the real world. Take our real estate hustle as an example. We snag a 100-unit gem in Fort Worth, Texas. Investors threw in anywhere from 50 grand to 300 grand, depending on their ability to invest. The work that they did basically was wire transfer. After that, they went on a property vacation. Our team handled everything from property management switcheroo, fire claims, even a wild winter storm that froze pipes and doors. Most of these investors never even set foot on the property. But guess what? Their money working quietly in the background did all the talking. In just 20 months, it waltzed back into their bank account with a 75% annual return. Wow, that's a sweet deal. Now that you learn why working harder doesn't correlate with financial success, go watch this video because you'll need to understand the 7 investing secrets we wish we knew earlier to grow 10x faster.